Have you guys ever been asked to tell your side of the story?
Never.
Your little whānau's kind of been mentioned in the media and documentaries by politicians. What's that been like for you two to kind of hear and see that?
Pretty hard. Yeah, really hard. Only because it just keeps on popping up all the time, everywhere.
The media documentary was one-sided.
And we're over one-sided.
Yeah. People are judging us on what they've read in there, and it's all wrong. All of it, it's wrong.
I'm sick of being portrayed as horrible people.
Yeah.
We're not in a gang.
Yeah.
We're good people.
Yeah.
And we want our story out there.
When this couple fostered 4 children, they never imagined themselves embroiled in a storm of national outrage, that the siblings they took in would feature in articles, a documentary, and subsequent discussions around 7AA of the Oranga Tamariki Act.
According to Oranga Tamariki, none of the children's whānau was available to take them in, nor any Māori family. It was not easy to find a home for life.
It was the uplift that broke hearts across Aotearoa. This documentary by Newsroom shows Tamariki being taken away from a previous set of foster parents by Oranga Tamariki. It's traumatic. There are plenty of tears. The case was specifically referred to by Children's Minister Karen Shaw, who wants to repeal Section 7AA.
I've watched footage of a reverse uplift where 4 young siblings were taken, crying, traumatised, from a forever home after 3 years because Oranga Tamariki disapproved of the foster parents' British culture and discovered a more culturally appropriate relative, unknown to the children at the other end of the country.
For those watching on, there are questions. How can this be happening? And why are these children being re-traumatised?
The Pākehā couple who had cared for the children for over 2 years shared their pain and frustration in the media. As for those to whom the children went, they were never approached, never asked about their side of the story. In fact, this is the first time they have ever spoken publicly.
That case has kind of been labelled as a reverse uplift. What do you guys have to say about that?
No, it was just really, Auntie and Uncle have been found.
Yeah.
We would have been there on day one. We would have been there and we would have got them. But because we didn't get told, we didn't know.
The children's mother and their uncle are siblings. Contact between the two has been very sparse over the years. It was a shock to the uncle to discover that the children had been in and out of foster homes for most of their lives. We are unable to identify this couple in order to protect the identity of the Tamariki, but it's with these two, uncle and auntie, the 4 children are living with. The couple believe they have been unfairly cast as the baddies in the whole story.
People will be asking, why weren't you there straight away? Why weren't you there on day one? What's your guys' answer?
We didn't know. The mother's to herself, my sister's to herself, so she didn't tell us, and we didn't know. No one reached out.
Yeah.
We've been fostering kids for 9 years, so we didn't know.
Yeah, we have our niece's girl we've had for 11 years. So we were known to Oranga Tamariki. I worked for them for I think 7 years. So we were right there. As a social worker said to me that they did the whakapapa and that's where they found us and that they rang us straight away to let us know. Straight away we're like, yeah, we're in. Yeah, and it just would have been a lot better if they had come to whānau first and not gone to 3 placements.
And that was the whole point of 7AA. Oranga Tamariki described it as their practical commitment to the principles of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. It's a mechanism through which the ministry develops strategic partnerships with iwi and other Māori organisations to help reconnect tamariki with whānau, hapu and iwi. Anger over the government's repeal has intensified, particularly given the tabling of the report into abuse in state care and the introduction of a boot camp pilot. Meanwhile, this couple are focusing their energies on providing a warm, safe and loving home for all the tamariki in their care, including 2 other whāngai and their own children.
So we've got here,
Yep.
that is one of the 4 siblings.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got, she is one of the 4
Yep.
siblings. And then we've got, which is another sibling. And then we have their brother, and that's another sibling of the 4. And they're all cousins.
Their house was spacious and welcoming. Both parents have jobs. They also have big hearts.
And it's a happy, crazy
everything.
household.
It's lovely. It's a beautiful home, and our whare is alive.
Yeah.
It's not the same when they're, out and about, and that our house is too quiet.
Do you think the story that's out there kind of implies that you're some stranger uncle that, that no one's ever heard of, and that you guys didn't care and you suddenly cared 2 years later?
Half brother. No, I'm an uncle to the kids, and when we picked them up and we went to visit them a few times, they were so excited to see me. They practically jumped all over my shoulders and nearly dragged me along the ground when I first met them, and I was excited to meet them, and I'm sure they were excited to meet me too. And then when we brought them home for a visit, they came to stay here for a couple of weekends, and they loved it. They were excited.
We were just the whānau that took them away, and that we're auntie and uncle that brought them home.
The couple believe that they have been scapegoated by the caregivers, media and Oranga Tamariki.
I feel Oranga Tamariki did fail with not getting into contact with us for these children in the first place. They've done it so many times, and it's still happening to this day. Wouldn't have had to go through all of this if they would have at least got a hold of the right people and told us what was happening. We weren't invited to any FGCs, we weren't told until 7AA come out, and they did a little bit more research and found us, and we would have been happy to take them a while back, because obviously we were fostering kids for 8 years anyway. So,
do you guys have any sympathy for the previous families that have looked after those tamariki?
I'd feel sorry for any caregiver that gets promised home for life, and the family are trying to get the kids back. We've tried to get kids back from OT straight away as soon as they've gone into care, and we've said, hey, that's our family, we'll give them back, and then they've had to put us through the system, but offered somebody else home for life. Offered somebody else to take this child forever, and then at the end of it, when they've realised that we're perfectly capable to look after these kids, now we have to go do the bad work and the hard work to go in and what you'd like to call as uplift the child, which it shouldn't have been an uplift in the first place. This is just disappointing. If OT will stop offering people home for life while other families are fighting in the background to try and save their family, there would not be a reverse uplift.
This is actually the 4th home the children have lived in. Their uncle and auntie are hopeful it will be their last. They say their nieces and nephews have settled in. They are learning te reo Māori and kapahaka and loving life surrounded by their cousins.
I'm sure that documentary and your whānau being mentioned all over the media can be quite sad and painful, triggering. Have you guys been able to move on from it yet?
We've never been able to share our story. Media shared the caregiver's story over and over. They supported them, but no one shared our story. We weren't allowed to do a lot of things because the media was part of our life. Our life changed. We love the kids, and this is our whānau, and that 7AA really, really worked for us. And I want this story to go out there to everybody, that our babies have their culture, They have their identity. They are happy. They are full of love, whānau, everything. And what people have portrayed us as is wrong.